The alien warship tore through the hull like claws through silk. Captain Maya Chen didn't flinch when the breach alarm screamed. She'd known this moment would come the instant her freighter crossed into Vardeshi space. The cargo hold depressurized in sections, explosive bolts firing in sequence as her crew scrambled for EVA suits. Through the viewport, the Vardeshi dreadnought loomed impossibly large, its obsidian surface drinking the light of distant stars. Maya's hands moved across the console with practiced calm, sealing bulkheads, rerouting life support, buying her people 30 seconds they desperately needed. The boarding torpedoes struck like hammers. Metal shrieked. The ship lurched violently to starboard, and Maya braced against her command chair, watching her crew's vital signs flicker across the display. 18 souls. 18 people who trusted her judgment when she'd accepted this run. The communications officer, Lieutenant Park, turned to her with wide eyes. "Captain, they're requesting immediate surrender. Standard terms. They'll commandeer the vessel and cargo. Crew to be detained pending tribunal." Maya nodded once. "Accept." Park's fingers trembled on the console. "Aye, Captain." The cutting began immediately. Vardeshi breach teams worked with surgical precision, their plasma torches carving entry points through reinforced bulkheads. Maya ordered her crew to the main cargo bay, hands visible, weapons secured. She walked at the front, her stride measured and deliberate. Fear was a luxury. Panic got people killed. Behind her, Engineer Thompson muttered prayers under his breath. Park stayed close to her right shoulder, jaw clenched so tight Maya could hear teeth grinding. The Vardeshi poured through the breach points in perfect formation. 7 feet tall, armored in biomechanical exoskeletons that moved like living things. Their faces were hidden behind helmets that reflected distorted versions of the surrendering crew. Maya counted 40 soldiers in the first wave. Overkill for a civilian freighter. They moved with the confidence of predators who'd never known defeat. Then she entered. The temperature in the cargo bay dropped 5 degrees. Maya felt it through her flight suit, watched her breath mist in the suddenly cold air. The Vardeshi soldiers parted in absolute silence, forming 2 perfect lines. Queen Visara of the 3rd Expansion Fleet stepped between them, and Maya understood why lesser species surrendered on sight. She stood 8 feet tall in her ceremonial armor, each plate etched with the names of conquered worlds. Her skin was deep purple, almost black in the harsh cargo lights, and her eyes burned with bioluminescent gold. 4 arms, each ending in fingers tipped with retractable claws. A crown of bone grown from her own skull, shaped by centuries of genetic engineering into something beautiful and terrible. She moved with absolute certainty, each step deliberate, each gesture carrying the weight of empire. Maya met those golden eyes and didn't look away. Visara stopped 10 feet from the human captain. The silence stretched. Maya's crew stood frozen behind her, barely breathing. The Vardeshi queen tilted her head, studying Maya like a specimen under glass. When she spoke, her voice resonated through the cargo bay with harmonics that seemed to bypass ears and speak directly to bone. "Your ship is forfeit. Your cargo is forfeit. You and your crew will be processed according to Vardeshi law." Each word was perfectly enunciated, accentless, cold as vacuum. "You are now subjects of the 3rd Expansion Fleet." Maya nodded slowly. "I understand." Visara's secondary arms moved, fingers flexing. "You do not protest, you do not beg. Unusual for your species. Would it change anything? No. Then there's no point." Maya's voice remained steady. She could feel Park trembling beside her, could hear Thompson's ragged breathing. Her crew needed her calm. "I have one question, Your Majesty." The title came easily. Maya had studied Vardeshi protocols during the 3-day approach to their territory. Know your enemy. Know their customs. Survive long enough to find an opening. Visara's eyes narrowed fractionally, the only sign of interest. "You may speak." Maya looked past the queen to where her crew stood clustered together.
18 faces, young Park who'd joined them fresh from academy.
Thompson, who had 3 daughters waiting on Mars Station. Rodriguez, who collected antique books. Chenwei, who wasn't related to Maya despite the shared name, but who'd become like a sister over 6 years of flying together. 18 lives that depended on what Maya said next. She turned back to Visara. "Are you taking me too?" The cargo bay fell absolutely silent. Even the Vardeshi soldiers seemed to still, their attention locked on their queen. Visara stared at Maya for 3 long seconds. Then her mouth curved into something that might have been a smile on a human face but looked predatory on hers. "Explain your question." Maya kept her hands loose at her sides, her posture open. "My crew followed my orders. I chose this route. I accepted the risk. If you're taking my ship, if you're taking them, then I'm asking if you're taking me too, or if you're leaving me here to watch. Visara took one step closer. The temperature dropped another degree. You would volunteer for imprisonment? I'm not volunteering for anything. I'm asking where I stand. Maya's voice didn't waver. I'm their captain. If they're going somewhere, I need to know if I'm going with them. The Queen's forearm spread slowly, a gesture Maya couldn't interpret, threat or consideration, or something else entirely. Visara's bioluminescent eyes brightened, casting gold light across Maya's face. You are either very brave or very foolish, human. Neither. I'm responsible. Maya glanced at her crew again, then back to the towering alien sovereign. So I'm asking, are you taking me too? Visara studied her in silence. The Vardeshi soldiers remained perfectly still, awaiting orders that didn't come. Maya could hear her own heartbeat thundering in her ears, but kept her breathing slow and even. This moment balanced on a knife's edge. One wrong word, one sign of weakness, and everything could collapse. The Queen's smile widened, showing teeth designed for tearing. Yes, Captain Chen, I am taking you too. She turned to her soldiers, voice carrying absolute authority. Secure the crew. Prepare the ship for tow. The captain comes with me to the dreadnought. Park stepped forward before Maya could stop her. Your Majesty, please. One of Visara's primary hands rose. Park fell silent immediately. The Queen's attention hadn't left Maya's face. Your lieutenant shows loyalty. Commendable. But you asked your question, Captain. I have given my answer. Come. Maya nodded to Park. It's all right. Follow their instructions. Stay together. I'll find you. She didn't know if that was true. Didn't know if she'd ever see her crew again. But they needed to hear certainty, so she gave it to them. Visara turned and walked toward the breach point. 2 royal guards fell into step behind her, their armor darker than the soldiers, edged with gold. Maya followed, leaving her crew and her ship behind. The Queen moved through the corridors of the damaged freighter without hesitation, navigating by some internal map, or simply by the certainty that all paths would open before her. They crossed through the breach point into the Vardeshi dreadnought. The difference was immediate and overwhelming. Where the freighter had been cramped and utilitarian, the warship stretched vast and cathedral-like, walls of dark metal etched with glowing script. Gravity slightly heavier than Earth standard. Air-carrying scents Maya couldn't identify. Spice and ozone and something organic. Visara led her through corridors wide enough for 6 Vardeshi to walk abreast. They passed soldiers who saluted with perfect synchronization, past crew members who pressed themselves against walls in deference. The Queen acknowledged none of them. Her attention had turned inward, and Maya walked in silence, watching, learning, calculating odds that looked worse with every step. They entered a chamber that could only be the Queen's private council room. Walls covered in star charts showing Vardeshi territorial expansion across 3 sectors. A table carved from single piece of black stone, its surface holding holographic displays of fleet positions. Weapon racks holding ceremonial blades that looked sharp enough to split atoms. Visara settled into a throne-like chair, her forearms spreading across the armrests. Sit, Captain Chen. Maya sat in the smaller chair across from her. The royal guards took positions flanking the door, silent and watchful. Visara regarded Maya with those burning golden eyes, and something in her expression had changed. The predatory edge remained, but beneath it Maya sensed curiosity. Do you know why I answered your question? The Queen's voice had lowered, losing some of its public formality. No, Your Majesty, because in 300 cycles of conquest you are the 47th being to ask it. Visara leaned forward slightly. Captains beg for their crews. They offer themselves in exchange. They threaten, they plead, they negotiate, but you simply asked if you were included, as though your presence among your people was a fact of nature, not a bargaining position. Maya said nothing. Visara continued, 2 of her hands steepling thoughtfully. The other 46 who asked that question? They now serve in my fleet. Command positions. Because a captain who does not abandon crew in defeat will not abandon crew in victory. The Queen's smile returned. So yes, Captain Chen, I am taking you too. The question now is, what you will become. Maya's pulse hammered. She had expected imprisonment, interrogation, perhaps execution. Not this. I don't understand. You will? Visara rose from her throne. Your crew will be processed, detained, evaluated. If they prove useful, they will be offered service. If not, they will be held until prisoner exchange is negotiated with your government. Standard procedure. She moved to the star charts, one hand tracing territorial boundaries. But you, Captain, have shown the quality I value most. Responsibility without performance. Duty without theater. Maya stood slowly. What are you offering? Nothing yet. First you prove yourself. Visara turned back to her, all four arms spreading in a gesture that seemed almost welcoming. You asked if I was taking you too. I am. Now you will learn what that means in the 3rd Expansion Fleet. The Royal Guard stepped forward. Maya didn't resist as they escorted her from the council chamber, but as the doors sealed behind her, she looked back once at the towering alien queen who had answered one simple question and changed the trajectory of her life. Visara stood alone among her star charts, golden eyes reflecting the light of conquered worlds, and Maya realized with sudden clarity that the real question hadn't been whether the queen would take her. The real question was what Maya would choose to become in the taking. The guards led her deeper into the dreadnought, through corridors that seemed to stretch endlessly, past crew members who watched the human with varying degrees of curiosity and contempt. Maya cataloged everything. Structural details. Security protocols. The rhythm of shift changes announced through tonal pulses that vibrated through the walls. Information was survival. Understanding was advantage. They brought her to a detention level, but not the crowded cells she expected. Instead, a private chamber, sparse but clean. Metal walls, a sleeping platform, basic facilities. A viewport showing the stars sliding past as the dreadnought moved through space. The guards sealed the door without a word, and Maya was alone. She moved to the viewport, pressing one hand against the cold surface. Out there somewhere, her crew was being processed. Park would be terrified but hiding it. Thompson would be making jokes to calm the others. Rodriguez would be watching for escape routes. They were survivors. They'd hold together. They had to. Maya's reflection stared back at her from the transparent metal. 34 years old, short dark hair, eyes that had seen too much in too few years. She'd lost her first command to a reactor failure that killed 12 people. Her second to pirates who'd left her adrift for 6 days before rescue. This was her 3rd ship, and she'd just surrendered it to an alien empire without firing a shot. Responsible. That's what Visara had called her. Responsible without performance, duty without theater. The door opened behind her. Maya turned to find not guards, but a Vardeshi female. Smaller than Visara, but still tall by human standards. Her armor marked her as a mid-rank officer, and her expression carried something almost like sympathy. Captain Chen. I am Sub-Commander Zeris. I've been assigned as your liaison. Her voice lacked Visara's overwhelming presence, but held its own authority. The Queen has ordered your evaluation to begin immediately. Evaluation for what? Zeris tilted her head in what might have been respect. That depends entirely on you. Follow me. They walked through different corridors this time, heading toward the ship's core. Zeris moved with efficiency rather than ceremony, and, after a moment, she spoke again. Your question to the Queen has circulated through the command structure. It's being discussed. Is that good or bad? The Vardeshi respect unusual. Zeres glanced at Maya. Most humans we encounter are either terrified or defiant. You were neither. You were practical. The Queen finds that interesting. They entered what appeared to be a strategic operations center. Holographic displays showed fleet movements across multiple star systems. Dozens of Vardeshi officers worked at stations, their movements coordinated and precise. Zeris led Maya to a raised platform where a tactical simulation glowed in 3 dimensions. This is a scenario from our training protocols. A fleet action in the Karish Belt. You will take command of the Red Force. I will control the Blue Force. You have 30 minutes to achieve victory or force a stalemate. Zeres settled into a command station. Begin when ready. Maya studied the display. Red Force. 3 cruisers, 5 frigates, 12 fighters. Blue Force, similar composition but with better positioning near an asteroid field. Standard naval engagement with one complication. The Karish Belt's magnetic interference would scatter targeting systems. This wasn't just a test of tactics. It was a test of how she thought. She began moving pieces. Not aggressively, not defensively, but with careful consideration of logistics and crew endurance. She pulled her cruisers into a defensive formation, used her fighters for reconnaissance, sent 2 frigates on a flanking trajectory that would take 40 minutes to complete. Zeres attacked immediately, her forces surging forward with Vardeshi confidence. Maya's formation absorbed the assault, taking damage but holding position.
She didn't counterattack.
Instead, she used the cover of the asteroid field to reposition, buying time for her flanking frigates to complete their arc. 20 minutes in, Zaris had superior position, but her forces were overextended. Maya sprang her trap, frigates emerging from behind magnetic interference to strike supply lines. Zeres's formation collapsed inward to defend, and Maya's cruisers pushed forward at exactly that moment, not to destroy, but to isolate. At 28 minutes, the simulation ended in stalemate. Neither force could achieve victory without catastrophic losses. Zeres studied the final positions in silence, then looked at Maya with what might have been approval. "You fought like a human. Is that an insult? An observation?"
Vardeshi tactics emphasize overwhelming force and decisive victory.
You emphasized preservation and patience.
Different philosophies. Zaris stood. "The Queen will want to see the results. Come." They returned to the council chamber where Visara waited, reviewing reports on holographic displays. She dismissed them with a gesture when Maya and Zares entered, her golden eyes focusing with predatory intensity. "Well?" Zares projected the simulation results into the air. A stalemate. The human refused to commit to costly engagements. She prioritized force preservation over territorial gain, unconventional but effective within her objectives. Visara studied the tactical display, 4 hands moving to manipulate different elements simultaneously. You fought not to win, but to survive long enough to make winning too expensive for your opponent. Interesting. She looked at Maya. "Explain your reasoning." Maya stepped closer to the display. "In a real engagement, stalemate means both sides retreat and regroup. That gives time for negotiation, for diplomatic solutions, for understanding what the fight is actually about. Victory through attrition just means everyone loses. A very human perspective. Is that wrong?" Visara's smile showed teeth. "No. Simply different from ours. The Vardeshi believe in clarity through conquest. You believe in survival through calculation." She waved away the tactical display. "Both have merit. Both have weakness. The question is whether you can learn from one to strengthen the other." Maya met those burning eyes. "Are you offering to teach me?" "I am offering you a choice. Your crew will be processed according to our laws. They will be detained, evaluated, and either released through prisoner exchange or offered positions if they prove valuable. This will take months. During that time, you can sit in a cell and wait, or you can learn how the Third Expansion Fleet operates. Learn our tactics, our culture, our way of war. Become useful. And if I refuse, then you sit in a cell and wait. No harm will come to you or your crew beyond detention. You have my word as queen." Visara leaned forward. "But you asked if I was taking you too, Captain Chen." I answered yes. Now I'm asking if you will come willingly or merely as cargo. The chamber fell silent. Maya looked past Visara to the star charts on the walls, showing the relentless expansion of Vardeshi territory. Empire built on conquest, on overwhelming force, on certainty of superiority, but also on discipline, on loyalty, on the kind of structure that turned 47 captured captains into fleet commanders. She thought of Park trembling beside her. Thompson's prayers, Rodriguez's defiance, Chenwei's trust. 18 people who followed her into Vardeshi space and paid the price for her decision. If she sat in a cell, she learned nothing. If she learned nothing, she couldn't help them when the moment came, and the moment would come. She believed that with the same certainty she believed in gravity. I'll learn. Visara's expression shifted into something that might have been satisfaction. Good. Zares, the captain, is assigned to your staff. She'll shadow command operations, attend tactical briefings, participate in simulations. She is to be treated as an observer with provisional clearance. If she proves herself, that status will change. Zares saluted with all 4 arms. Yes, Your Majesty. Captain Chen. Visara's voice carried weight that pressed against Maya's chest. You asked one question and received one answer. Now I will ask you one question.
Answer carefully.
Maya straightened, meeting those golden eyes. I'm listening. When the time comes when your crew is processed and decisions are made about their fate, when the moment arrives that will define what happens next, will you serve the Vardeshi Empire, or will you serve only yourself? The question hung in the air like a blade. Maya understood what Visara was really asking. Loyalty, the foundation of everything in Vardeshi culture. Service to something larger than individual survival. The Queen wanted to know if Maya could be trusted with power, or if she was just another opportunist trying to survive. Maya thought of her first command burning, reactor breach, spreading through the engineering deck, She'd stayed on the bridge coordinating evacuation until the last possible second. 12 people died anyway. She thought of her second command adrift in deep space, 6 days of rationing air and hope. She'd given her own oxygen to injured crew members, nearly died herself before rescue arrived. Responsibility without performance, duty without theater. I serve my crew, Maya said quietly. Everything I do is for their survival. If serving your empire helps them, I'll serve. If it doesn't, I won't. That's the only honest answer I can give you. The chamber fell deadly silent. Zaris had gone completely still, and Maya realized she might have just signed her own death warrant. Vardeshi didn't tolerate conditional loyalty, but Visara had asked for honesty, and Maya had learned long ago that lies always unraveled at the worst possible moment. Visara stared at her for 10 long seconds. Then the queen began to laugh. The sound was rich and deep, resonating through the chamber with harmonics that made the star charts shimmer. Visara rose from her throne, all forearms spreading wide in a gesture of genuine amusement. Honest. Foolishly, dangerously honest. The queen's laughter faded into something approving. You know what answer I wanted. You know what answer would guarantee your safety? And you gave me truth instead. Captain Chen, you are either the worst diplomat in human space or the best leader I've encountered in 100 cycles. Maya didn't relax. Which do you think I am? Both, simultaneously. Which makes you fascinating. Visara moved closer, looking down at Maya from her considerable height. I will answer your honesty with my own. I don't need your loyalty to the Vardeshi Empire. I need your loyalty to yourself and your crew, because that loyalty is predictable. I can calculate around it. I can trust it. Loyalty sworn to me under duress is worthless. Loyalty to your own principles is iron. She gestured to Zaris. Take her. Begin her education. I want her observing fleet operations within the hour. Zaris saluted and led Maya from the council chamber. As they walked, the Vardeshi officer spoke softly. You gambled everything on that answer. I know. The queen could have killed you for it. Conditional loyalty is considered betrayal in our culture. I know that too. Maya glanced at Zaris. But she asked for truth. If I'd lied, she would have known. So I told her exactly where I stand. Zaris made a sound that might have been approval. You understand the queen better than you realize. She values predictability over performance. A subordinate who always acts in character is more valuable than one who tells her what she wants to hear. They turned down a corridor heading toward the command deck. Your crew is fortunate to have you. I hope they think so when this is over. The command deck sprawled across 2 levels, dominated by a central tactical display. 3 stories tall, hundreds of Vardeshi officers worked at stations, coordinating fleet movements across multiple star systems. The scale was staggering. Maya had commanded a freighter with 18 crew. This single ship operated with over 3,000 personnel, and it was one vessel in a fleet of hundreds. Zaris led her to an observation platform overlooking the main floor. You'll watch from here. Listen to communications. Observe how we coordinate fleet actions. Ask questions if something is unclear. Today you're a student. What you become tomorrow depends on how quickly you learn. Maya settled into the observation position, and Zaris moved to join the command staff below. The tactical display showed current fleet positions. The third expansion fleet controlled a vast region of space, with patrol routes, supply lines, and defensive positions all coordinated with mechanical precision. It was beautiful in its own way, like watching a vast organism move with single-minded purpose. She listened to communications chatter. Vardeshi military protocol was formal but efficient. Commands were given once and executed without question. Status reports came in regular intervals, color-coded by priority. Red for immediate threats, gold for strategic opportunities, blue for standard operations. The system was elegant, and Maya found herself studying the patterns, looking for the underlying logic. A tactical alert flashed red. Pirates, 3 ships, attempting to raid a supply convoy in the outer system. The command staff responded immediately. A squadron of 6 Vardeshi fighters launched from the dreadnought, trajectory calculated to intercept in 40 minutes. The pirates detected the launch and began to retreat. Maya watched the pursuit unfold. The Vardeshi fighters were faster, but the pirates had a head start and knew the local asteroid fields. Standard chase scenario. The Vardeshi would catch them eventually through superior speed and coordination, but it would cost time and fuel. She noticed something. The pirates were fleeing toward a specific navigation point, not randomly. Their course corrections followed a pattern, like they were heading for a predetermined destination, a safe house maybe, or a hidden base. The Vardeshi were pursuing directly, focused on the immediate kill rather than the strategic objective. Maya made a decision. She descended from the observation platform and approached the tactical officer, a massive Vardeshi male with armor marked by combat scars. He looked up as she approached, expression unreadable. "Observer Chen, do you have a question?" "Request permission to speak, sir." He glanced at Zeres, who nodded. "Granted." Maya pointed to the tactical display. "The pirates are running toward navigation point Delta 7. Their course corrections suggest they're heading for a specific location, not fleeing randomly. If your fighters follow directly, they'll kill the pirates but lose the base.
If they parallel the course and observe, you might find their hideout." The tactical officer studied the display, then looked at Zeres again.
The sub-commander approached, reviewing the data. "The human makes a valid point. The pursuit pattern is suspicious. Adjust pursuit vector," the tactical officer ordered. "Shadow at maximum sensor range. Prepare reconnaissance drones for deployment." The fighters altered course, maintaining pursuit but hanging back just enough to avoid triggering panic. The pirates, believing they'd successfully escaped, continued toward their destination. 40 minutes later, they led the Vardeshi straight to a hidden facility carved into an asteroid, where 6 more pirate vessels lay in wait. The tactical officer sent the coordinates to the main fleet. Within 2 hours, a full assault force had seized the base, captured 3 pirate vessels intact, and recovered stolen cargo worth millions in credits. The tactical officer turned to Maya with an expression that might have been respect. "Good eye, observer. First day and you've already proven your value." Maya nodded her thanks, but her mind was racing. She just helped the Vardeshi Empire capture a pirate base, helped them strengthen their hold on this sector. It was a small thing, but it was real. Collaboration. Cooperation with the people who'd taken her ship and imprisoned her crew. That night, alone in her quarters, Maya stared at the viewport and wondered what she was becoming. She'd told Visara the truth. She served her crew, not the Empire. But every tactical insight she offered made the Vardeshi stronger. Every observation she shared tightened their control. Where was the line between learning useful information and becoming complicit in conquest?
The door chimed. Maya turned to find Zeres entering, carrying a data tablet.
"The Queen wishes to see you. Your contribution today has been noted." They walked through the now familiar corridors to the council chamber. Visara waited, reviewing reports of the pirate base seizure. She looked up as Maya entered, golden eyes calculating. "One day, one observation, one strategic insight, and you've proven more valuable than half my command staff." The Queen gestured to the data. "The base you helped us find? It was a hub for 3 different pirate networks. We've dealt a significant blow to organized crime in this sector. Lives will be saved, trade routes will be safer, all because you saw a pattern my tactical officers missed." Maya said nothing. Visara continued, moving closer. "Tell me, Captain Chen, how does it feel to help the Empire that captured you?" The question cut like a blade. Maya met those burning eyes. "Complicated." Honest again. "Good." Visara settled into her throne. "You're wondering if you've betrayed something. Your principles, perhaps. The independence you value so highly." She leaned forward. "But consider this. Would you rather those pirates had escaped? Would you prefer they continue raiding, killing, stealing? Or is it acceptable to help stop them, even if it benefits an empire you don't serve?" It's not that simple. No, it's exactly that simple. Right action remains right regardless of who benefits. You saw a pattern. You shared it. People are safer because you did. Your loyalty to your crew didn't prevent you from doing what was right. That's not weakness, Captain. That's strength. Maya's chest tightened. Visara was twisting logic, making collaboration seem like virtue. But underneath the manipulation was a kernel of truth. She had helped stop criminals. That wasn't wrong just because it benefited the Vardeshi. "What do you want from me?" Maya asked quietly. "I want you to keep learning. Keep observing. Keep sharing insights when you see them. In return, I will ensure your crew is treated fairly during their evaluation. They will not be harmed. They will not be coerced. And when decisions are made about their future, I will consult with you before finalizing anything. You're bribing me with their safety. I'm offering you influence over their fate. There's a difference." Visara's forearms spread. "You asked if I was taking you too. I am. Now I'm showing you what that means. You can sit in a cell and hope for mercy, or you can participate in the process and shape outcomes. Choose." Maya's hands clenched into fists. Every instinct screamed this was wrong. Collaboration with an imperial power, no matter how small, was a betrayal of everything she believed. But Visara was offering real influence over her crew's future. The chance to protect them, guide them, maybe even save them. Responsibility without performance, duty without theater. "I'll participate," Maya said, "but I want to see my crew. Verify they're being treated properly." Visara considered this for a long moment. Then she nodded. "Agreed. Tomorrow you will be permitted 1 hour with your crew. After that, we'll discuss your role moving forward." The next morning, guards escorted Maya to the detention level where her crew was being held. Not the private chamber she occupied, but a larger communal space with sleeping platforms, basic facilities, and a central common area. The sight of 18 familiar faces nearly broke her composure. Park saw her first and rushed forward. "Captain!" "Oh, God, we thought—" Maya caught her in a tight embrace. "I'm fine. Are you all right? All of you?" Thompson stepped forward, looking older than she remembered. "We're okay, Captain. Scared as hell, but okay. They've been treating us decently. Regular meals, medical checks. No interrogations yet." Rodriguez emerged from the back of the group, eyes sharp with suspicion. "Where have you been? What's happening?" Maya looked at all of them, these people who'd trusted her, who'd followed her into danger. "I've been cooperating with the Vardeshi, learning their systems, trying to find a way to help you." The silence that followed was deafening. Park stepped back slightly. Thompson's expression closed. Rodriguez's suspicion hardened into something colder. "Cooperating," Rodriguez said flatly. "You mean collaborating. I mean surviving." Maya kept her voice level. "The Queen offered me a choice. Sit in a cell or learn how to navigate their system. I chose to learn. For you. All of you." "Did they threaten you?" Park asked, hope in her voice. Maya shook her head. "No. They offered me influence over your evaluations in exchange for tactical insights." "I accepted." Chenwei pushed through the group. She studied Maya's face for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "You're buying us time. I'm buying us options. The Vardeshi respect competence and loyalty. If I prove valuable, they might treat you better. Offer you positions instead of detention. Give us a chance to stay together." "Or you're giving them exactly what they want," Rodriguez countered, "making yourself useful so they can exploit you, helping them conquer while telling yourself it's for our benefit." Maya didn't flinch. "Maybe. Probably. I don't know anymore. What I do know is that sitting in a cell doesn't help anyone. At least this way I have some influence, however small." The hour passed too quickly. Maya answered their questions as honestly as she could, explaining the evaluation process, the tactical simulations, the observation of fleet operations. Some of her crew seemed to understand. Others looked at her with barely concealed disappointment. When the guards came to collect her, Park grabbed her hand. "Captain, please. Don't lose yourself trying to save us." Maya squeezed her hand once, then let go. "I'll see you again soon. I promise." Walking back through the corridors, Maya felt the weight of their judgment. Rodriguez was right. She was collaborating, helping an empire grow stronger. The fact that she was doing it for the right reasons didn't change the reality of what she was becoming. Zaris met her outside the council chamber. "The Queen wants you present at a fleet coordination meeting. High-level strategy discussion. Your insights may prove valuable." The meeting room held 20 senior officers, each commanding their own vessels within the 3rd Expansion Fleet. They stood when Visara entered, saluting in perfect synchronization. The Queen gestured for them to sit, then introduced Maya with a simple statement. "Captain Chen is observing our operations. Her tactical perspective has already proven valuable. She will attend this meeting as a consultant. Treat her contributions with appropriate weight." The Vardeshi officers regarded Maya with varying degrees of skepticism and curiosity. She took her position at the edge of the conference table, silent and watchful as they began discussing fleet movements. The strategic situation was complex. The 3rd Expansion Fleet was consolidating control over recently conquered territory while simultaneously probing defenses in the neighboring Talrock Confederacy. Resources were stretched thin. The Talrock were proving more resistant than expected, and supply lines were vulnerable to raiding. One officer, an aggressive commander named Varas, advocated for a direct assault on the Talrock homeworld. Overwhelming force. Decisive victory. Break their spirit and end the resistance. Another officer, more cautious, argued for continued consolidation. "We're overextended. A major assault now could leave our supply lines vulnerable. Better to strengthen our position first. The debate continued for 30 minutes, positions hardening, no consensus emerging. Visara listened without comment, forearms steepled thoughtfully. Then she looked directly at Maya. Captain Chen, you've been silent. Share your perspective. Every eye in the room turned to her. Maya felt the weight of their attention, the suspicion of some, the curiosity of others. She looked at the tactical display showing fleet positions and supply routes, seeing patterns the Vardeshi might not notice because they were too close to the problem. With respect, Your Majesty, you're asking the wrong question. Silence. Barris's expression darkened. The cautious officer leaned forward with interest. Visara's golden eyes brightened. Explain. Maya stood and moved to the tactical display. You're debating whether to attack now or consolidate first. But the real question is, why the Talrock are resisting so effectively? They're technologically inferior. They should have folded already, but they haven't, which means they're getting help. She manipulated the display, highlighting the Talrock defensive positions. These aren't random. They're too well coordinated, too well supplied. Someone is backing them. Find the source, cut it off, and the resistance collapses without a major assault. Varas stood abruptly. You presume to lecture us on Talrock resistance? We've been fighting them for cycles. And you've been assuming they're acting alone? I'm suggesting they're not. Maya met his glare calmly. I could be wrong, but if I'm right, a major assault plays into their supporters' hands. You commit resources to a hard fight while their real allies remain hidden and untouched. Visara tilted her head. And how would you determine if this theory is correct? Intelligence gathering. Focus on their supply lines. Track where materials are coming from. Follow the money and the weapons. If there's a benefactor, they'll leave traces. The cautious officer nodded slowly. The human makes sense. We've focused on military solutions while ignoring intelligence operations. Varas wasn't convinced this delays decisive action. The longer we wait, the stronger they become, or the longer we wait, the clearer the pattern becomes. Visara rose from her seat. Captain Chen's suggestion has merit. Commander Zeres assign intelligence assets to track Talrock supply chains. Varas, maintain current pressure but avoid committing to a major assault until we have better information. We reconvene in 10 cycles. The meeting ended. As the officers filed out, several gave Maya appraising looks. She just influenced Vardeshi military strategy. Helped them plan their next conquest more effectively. The weight of it settled on her shoulders like stone. Visara remained behind, studying Maya with those burning golden eyes. You saw what my commanders missed, a pattern they'd been too close to recognize. You're proving your value faster than I anticipated. I'm helping you conquer people who might be innocent. You're helping us avoid unnecessary bloodshed. If the Talrock are being manipulated by a third party, revealing that truth serves everyone, including the Talrock, Visara moved closer. You keep trying to make yourself the villain in this story, Captain Chen. But what if you're not? What if you're simply someone caught in larger currents, trying to do the least harm possible? Maya's voice came out rough. That's a convenient justification. Is it? Or is it the truth you're afraid to accept? The Queen placed one of her hands on Maya's shoulder, the gesture surprisingly gentle. You asked if I was taking you too. I am. But taking doesn't mean breaking, it means transforming. The question is what you will become in the transformation. 10 cycles passed. Maya attended briefings, observed operations, offered insights when asked. The intelligence operation revealed exactly what she'd predicted. A coalition of 3 smaller powers was funding Talrock resistance, hoping to bog the Vardeshi down in a costly war. Visara confronted the coalition with evidence, and they backed down immediately. The Talrock, abandoned by their supporters, negotiated terms of surrender within 2 cycles. Total casualties minimal. Territory gained, substantial. Maya's strategic insight had proven devastatingly effective. That night, Visara summoned her to the council chamber with news. Your crew's evaluations are complete. 12 have been offered positions within the fleet based on their skills. 6 have been cleared for prisoner exchange and will be returned to human space. The last 6, including Lieutenant Park, Chen Wei, and Rodriguez, have been flagged for special consideration. Maya's heart hammered. What does that mean? It means they showed exceptional potential, loyalty, competence, the qualities we value. I'm offering them positions as officers in training. They would serve under you. Visara's forearms spread. Because I'm offering you a command, Captain Chen. A frigate. Small crew, independent operations. You would serve the 3rd Expansion Fleet officially, with all the authority and responsibility that entails. The room spun. Maya gripped the edge of the stone table. You're asking me to join you? Officially, permanently. I'm offering you the opportunity to protect your people from within the system rather than outside it, to have real influence over their lives and futures, to become something more than a prisoner waiting for rescue. Visara leaned forward. You've proven your value. You've shown loyalty to your principles. Now I'm asking if you're ready to accept what you've already become. Maya's mind raced. A command. Real authority. Her crew serving under her, protected by her position, but also forever bound to an empire built on conquest. Forever complicit in expansion and war. If I refuse, then you and your crew return to human space through prisoner exchange. No harm, no coercion. You walk away and we never speak again. Visara's voice softened fractionally. But you'll always wonder what you could have become, what you could have accomplished, what difference you might have made from inside instead of outside. Maya looked at the star charts on the walls. Vardeshi territory expanding across 3 sectors. Worlds conquered, populations absorbed, resistance crushed. And somewhere in all that, the possibility of being a voice of reason, a moderating influence, someone who could push for mercy, advocate for better treatment, protect innocent people from the worst excesses of empire. Or was that just rationalization? The seductive lie that she could change the system from within while the system changed her instead? She thought of Park's face during that 1-hour visit. The hope and fear mingled together. Chen Wei's understanding. Rodriguez's accusation. They needed her. They always had. And now she had the chance to truly protect them. I need to talk to them first. My crew. The ones you're offering positions. They deserve to know what they're choosing.
Visara nodded.
You have until morning to decide, all of you. The guards brought them to a private meeting room. Park, Chen Wei, Rodriguez, Thompson, Williams, and Chen Ming. 6 faces she knew better than her own. 6 people whose lives hung on what happened next. Maya explained everything. The offer, the command, the choice. She didn't sugarcoat it, didn't try to make it sound better than it was. When she finished, silence hung heavy in the room. Rodriguez spoke first, voice tight with anger. So we become the Empire's dogs. Help them conquer! Trade our freedom for security! Or we go home and spend our lives wondering if we could have made a difference, Chen Wei countered. She's offering us positions, influence, the chance to be voices for restraint inside the system. That's how it starts, Rodriguez shot back, telling ourselves we'll change things from inside. Then years pass and we're just like them, and we don't even remember what we were fighting for. Park looked at Maya with tears in her eyes. What do you think we should do, Captain? Maya met each of their gazes in turn. I think we're all damned either way. If we refuse, we go home knowing we abandoned a chance to help people under Vardeshi rule. If we accept, we become part of the machine that rules them. There's no clean choice, no right answer. Then why are you considering it? Thompson asked quietly. Because I asked one question when they took our ship. Are you taking me too? And Visara said yes. Now she's asking me to choose what that means. Prisoner or officer, victim or participant, and I don't know which is right. Chen Ming, who had been silent until now, leaned forward. What about good? What choice does the most good? The question hung in the air. Maya thought about the Tau Rock situation. Her insight had prevented a costly war, saved lives on both sides. That was real good, measurable good, even if it benefited an empire she didn't serve. What if she could do that again? What if having a voice inside the system meant she could push for mercy, advocate for peaceful solutions, protect innocent people? Or what if it just meant she became a tool the Empire used to seem more benevolent while continuing to expand? I don't know, Maya admitted. I honestly don't know. They talked through the night, argued, debated. Some wanted to accept, some wanted to refuse. Some were genuinely undecided. As dawn approached, Maya made her decision. I'm going to accept, not because I think it's right. Not because I've convinced myself I can change the Empire, but because our people, humans in Vardeshi territory, will need advocates. People who understand both cultures, people who can bridge the gap. I'd rather be that person than leave the position empty. She looked at each of them. But I won't ask you to follow me this time. This choice is too big, too permanent. You decide for yourselves. Whatever you choose, I'll support it. And I'll make sure you get home safely if that's what you want. Park was first. I'm with you, Captain. I've always been with you. Chen Wei nodded. Me too. Someone has to keep you honest. Thompson and Williams exchanged glances, then nodded together. We're in. I'll try it. If I don't like what I'm becoming, I'm out. She sat in silence, jaw clenched, eyes bright with unshed tears. Finally, she spoke. I think you're making a mistake. I think you're going to regret this. But I also think you're going to need someone to remind you who you were before all this started. She stood. So I'm coming too. Not because I agree with you. Because someone has to be your conscience when yours gets too comfortable with compromise. Maya felt something break loose in her chest. Relief, gratitude, fear, all tangled together. Thank you, all of you. They stood together, 6 people bound by loyalty and doubt in equal measure. When the guards came to collect them, they walked as a unit to the council chamber where Visara waited. The queen regarded them with those burning golden eyes. Your decision? Maya stepped forward.
We accept, all of us.
With conditions. Visara's expression shifted into something like respect. State them. We serve as a unit. We're not separated. We're assigned to the same vessel under my command, and we maintain the right to refuse orders that violate our core principles without punishment. The last condition is problematic. Military discipline requires absolute obedience. Then we don't accept. My crew and I will not commit atrocities, even under orders. If that's unacceptable, we'll take prisoner exchange and go home. The chamber fell silent. Zeres, standing beside the queen's throne, looked tense. The royal guards at the door had gone completely still. Maya held Visara's gaze, refusing to back down. This was the line, the one principle she wouldn't compromise. Finally, Visara began to laugh, that same rich, resonant sound from their first meeting. You negotiate terms with an empire that conquered you. You demand conditions from a position of weakness. You refuse to compromise your principles even when it would be easier and safer to simply obey. The queen's smile was predatory and approving simultaneously. Very well, Captain Chen. You and your crew will serve as a unit. You will maintain the right to refuse orders that violate your stated principles, with the understanding that I will determine whether such refusal is principled resistance or simple insubordination. Agreed? It wasn't perfect. It left too much to Visara's judgment. But it was better than blind obedience. Maya nodded. Agreed. Then kneel, Captain, you and your crew. Accept your positions officially. They knelt together, 6 humans before an alien queen. Visara moved among them, placing one hand on each person's shoulder in turn, speaking words in the Vardeshi language that Maya was only beginning to understand. When she reached Maya last, the queen's 4 hands settled gently on her shoulders. You asked one question. Are you taking me too? I answered yes. Now you've chosen what that means. You are no longer prisoner. You are officer. Commander, voice of your people within mine. Serve with honor, serve with conscience. And know that I will hold you to the standards you've set for yourself. Maya rose with her crew. They wore no Vardeshi uniforms yet, bore no insignia of rank, but something had shifted. They weren't captives anymore. They were something else. Something unprecedented in the history of human Vardeshi relations. The next 6 months transformed them completely. Maya received her frigate, a sleek vessel named the Convergence, with a crew of 80, 60 Vardeshi and 20 human. She learned Vardeshi command protocols, studied their tactics, absorbed their culture. Her original crew served as her officers, each finding their place in the hybrid structure. Park became communications officer. Chen Wei, engineering. Rodriguez, tactical. They made it work through sheer determination and the bridge of trust they'd built together. Their first assignment was patrol duty in consolidated territory. Maya expected resentment from the Vardeshi crew members, but found something else instead. Curiosity. Respect for competence. The willingness to work together if it meant success. The Convergence became a testing ground for integration, and Maya's approach, focused on clear communication and mutual respect, proved surprisingly effective.
They stopped smugglers, responded to distress calls.
Mediated disputes between colony worlds. Small things, but real. Maya found herself actually helping people, protecting civilians, maintaining order. It wasn't conquest. It was security. And the line between the two was thinner than she'd expected. Then came the Karish incident, a colony world petitioning for independence from the Vardeshi Empire. Standard procedure would have been overwhelming military response. Instead, Maya requested permission to negotiate first. Visara, monitoring the situation personally, granted it. Maya spent 3 weeks on Karish, meeting with colonial leaders, listening to grievances, understanding root causes. The colonists didn't hate the Vardeshi. They wanted local autonomy, the right to govern themselves while remaining part of the economic and defensive structure. It was reasonable, achievable. She drafted a proposal. Limited self-governance in exchange for continued resource sharing and military cooperation. Both sides got something. Both sides gave something. She submitted it to Visara, expecting rejection. Instead, the Queen approved it within 24 hours. The Karish Autonomy Agreement became a template.
Other colonies requested similar terms.
Visara granted them, case by case, because Maya had proven peaceful solutions could serve imperial interests better than force. Expansion through cooperation, rather than conquest. It was a small shift, but it was real change. Rodriguez found Maya on the bridge late one night, staring out at the stars. "You're changing them." Maya glanced at her tactical officer. "Or they're changing me. Maybe both. That agreement you drafted? It's being taught at Vardeshi Command Academies now. New model for colonial integration. Your name is attached to it." "Is that good or bad?" Rodriguez settled into the seat beside her. "I don't know anymore. 6 months ago, I thought you'd made the worst mistake of your life. Now I'm watching you prevent wars and give people their freedom back. It's confusing. Welcome to my world." They sat in comfortable silence, two people who'd started as enemies of the Empire and somehow become its reformers. The weight of it should have crushed Maya. Instead, she felt something like purpose. She was making a difference. Small, incremental, imperfect, but real. The summons came on a quiet Tuesday. Visara wanted Maya back on the flagship. Important matter. No details. Maya took Chen Wei with her and made the familiar journey to the dreadnought that had once been her prison. The council chamber had changed. New star charts showing Vardeshi territory, new acquisitions, new treaties, new autonomous zones marked in gold. Maya's influence spreading across the empire in ways she'd never imagined. Visara stood before the charts, all forearms spread in a gesture of satisfaction. "Captain Chen. Sub-Commander Wei.
Welcome.
I have news." Maya waited. Chen Wei remained silent at her shoulder. The third expansion fleet is being reorganized. New command structure. New priorities. More emphasis on integration and less on conquest. The Karish model has proven too successful to ignore. Visara turned to face them. "I'm creating a new division. Integration Command. Dedicated to peaceful expansion through negotiation and cooperation. It will operate independently with its own fleet assets and authority." Maya's pulse quickened. "And you want me to lead it?" "No. I want you and the 46 other captains who asked your question. The ones who couldn't abandon their crews. The ones who proved loyalty beyond self-interest. You'll form the core of Integration Command. A new way forward for the Empire." The implications crashed over Maya like a wave. Not just her frigate, an entire division. Real power. Real authority to shape policy. The chance to expand the Karish model across conquered territories. To give people freedom within structure. To make the Empire something better than it had been. "This is what I've been building toward," Maya said slowly. "Since the day you answered my question. You've been testing me, shaping me, preparing me for this." Visara's smile showed teeth. "Yes. You asked if I was taking you to. I answered yes. Now you understand what I was taking you for. Not to break you. To transform you into something the Empire needs. A bridge between conquest and cooperation. A voice for restraint when force seems easiest." Chen Wei stepped forward. "Why humans? Why not use Vardeshi officers for this?" "Because Vardeshi think like conquerors. It's our nature. We see territory and we take it. But you humans, you think like survivors. You look for third options, diplomatic solutions, ways to win without fighting. That perspective is invaluable." Visara moved closer. "Integration Command will have human and Vardeshi officers working together.
Learning from each other.
Creating something new." Maya looked at Chen Wei, saw her own uncertainty reflected. This was everything she'd hoped for and everything she'd feared. The power to do real good purchased with complicity and empire. The chance to help millions at the cost of serving the system that conquered them. "I need time to think. Take it. But not too long. The Empire is changing, Captain Chen. The question is whether you'll help guide that change or watch it happen from the outside." They returned to the Convergence in silence. Maya called her original crew together and explained the offer. The debate lasted hours. Park was enthusiastic, Thompson cautious. Rodriguez is always skeptical. It's still an empire, Rodriguez argued. Pretty words don't change that. Integration Command is just conquest with better PR. Or, it's real reform, Chen Wei countered. The chance to reshape imperial policy from within. We've already proven it works. The Karish model is saving lives. For now. Until the Empire decides cooperation isn't profitable anymore. Then what? We've built a system that makes expansion easier, and we're complicit when it turns back to force. Maya let them argue, listening to both sides. Finally, she spoke. Rodriguez is right. This is still an empire. Integration Command doesn't change that fundamental reality. But Chen Wei is also right. We've proven reform is possible. The question is whether we abandon that work now because it's imperfect, or whether we continue pushing for incremental improvement. And if improvement stops, Rodriguez pressed, then we walk away. We've maintained the right to refuse orders that violate our principles. That includes the right to resign if the Empire stops reforming. But while there's still progress, while we're still making things better, I think we have an obligation to try. Park leaned forward. What do you want to do, Captain? Not what you think you should do. What do you want? Maya closed her eyes. What did she want? To go home? To be free of these impossible choices? To go back to being a simple freighter captain hauling cargo across safe routes? No, that person was gone. Transformed by the same empire that had conquered her, she'd become something else. Someone who'd seen the machinery of power from inside and learned how to influence it. Someone who'd discovered that small acts of mercy and wisdom could ripple outward and change thousands of lives. She opened her eyes. I want to accept. I want to build Integration Command into something that actually helps people. I want to prove that empire doesn't have to mean oppression. That expansion can happen through cooperation instead of conquest. Even if it fails? Rodriguez asked quietly. Even if it fails. Because at least we tried. At least we pushed for something better. Maya looked at each of them in turn. I'm accepting Visara's offer. I'm taking command of Integration Command. If you want to come with me, you're welcome. If you want to go home, I'll support that too.
No judgment, either way?
They all came. Every one of them. Because they'd started this journey together and they'd finish it together, whatever the ending looked like. Maya returned to Visara with her answer, and the Queen's smile was triumphant. Then it begins. Integration Command is yours, Captain Chen. Make it something worthy of the question you asked and the answer I gave. The years that followed transformed the Vardeshi Empire. Slowly, incrementally, imperfectly. Integration Command expanded to 40 vessels with mixed crews. The Kurish model spread to 30 colony worlds. Peaceful expansion became policy in most sectors. Conquest didn't end, but it changed. Became more surgical, more justified, more restrained. Maya rose to admiral. Her crew rose with her. They trained new Integration Command officers, human and Vardeshi working together. They mediated disputes. They negotiated treaties. They prevented wars. Small victories, one after another, adding up to something that looked almost like hope. 10 years after that first moment in the cargo bay, Maya stood before Visara in the council chamber. The queen had aged gracefully, her crown of bone more elaborate, her armor marked with new conquests and new treaties in equal measure. Do you remember your question, Admiral Chen? Maya smiled. Are you taking me too? And do you remember why I answered yes? Because I asked it at all. Because I couldn't imagine being anywhere except with my crew. Visara nodded slowly. You've exceeded every expectation. Integration Command has changed the Empire more profoundly than conquest ever did. We expand now through cooperation. We integrate through mutual benefit, because you asked one question and chose to live the answer. I'm still not sure I made the right choice. Good. The day you become certain is the day you've lost perspective. Visara's forearms spread. But you've made a difference. Real, measurable, lasting. That's more than most achieve in 10 lifetimes. Maya looked at the star charts covering the walls. Vardeshi territory larger than ever, but also different. Gold zones marking autonomous regions, green markers showing cooperative treaties. The Empire had expanded, but it had also transformed, and she'd been part of that transformation. Rodriguez found her later, looking out at the stars from the Integration, their new flagship. Still questioning the choice? Every day. Good. Someone needs to. Rodriguez settled beside her. You know what the worst part is?
I think you were right. Not about everything.
But about enough. Maya glanced at her oldest critic and closest friend. That might be the nicest thing you've ever said to me. Don't let it go to your head. I still think you're complicit in Empire. I'm just admitting that your particular flavor of complicity has saved lives. They laughed together, two people who'd started as captor and captive and somehow become partners in reforming the system that had captured them both. That night, Maya recorded a message, not to Visara, not to her crew, but to herself. A reminder of who she'd been and who she'd become. My name is Maya Chen. 10 years ago, an alien queen claimed my ship. I asked one question, "Are you taking me too?" She said yes. I chose to go willingly. I chose to learn. I chose to participate. I chose to become complicit in the hope that complicity might buy influence, and influence might create change. I don't know if I was right. I don't know if the good I've done outweighs the harm of serving an empire. But I know I tried. I know I pushed for mercy when force seemed easier. I know I gave people choices when conquest would have given them only surrender. That has to count for something. It has to mean something. Because if it doesn't, then I've wasted 10 years of my life rationalizing collaboration. And I can't accept that. I won't accept that. So I keep pushing. Keep reforming. Keep trying to make the Empire something better than it was. One treaty at a time. One peaceful expansion at a time. One question answered with the right action instead of the easy one. Are you taking me too? Yes. I'm here. I'm committed. I'm trying to make it mean something good. That's all I can do. That's all any of us can do. Try to make our choices mean something. Try to leave things better than we found them. Try to answer the questions that matter with actions that count. I asked one question. I got one answer. And I've spent 10 years learning what that answer means. I still don't know if it was worth it. But I'm not done trying to find out. She saved the message and looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, new colonies were negotiating for autonomy using her templates. New treaties were being signed using her methods. New integration command officers were learning from her example. The ripples spreading outward from one question asked in a moment of crisis. Are you taking me too? Yes. And in that answer, everything had changed.